Now, this stuff here, this is thermal paste. If you ever take a processor off, or the heat sink, this here is a heat sink. It's just a big chunk of aluminum with fins. It helps, the aluminum dissipates the heat off these processors, because these processors get extremely hot. Okay. Now, you take, all you need, this is Arctic Silver 5. This is actually really good heat sink, in my opinion anyway. Some people might not. But all you need is just a little bit around it. If you can see that little bead that I'm going around like that, just a little itty bitty bit, because once you clamp down the heat sink onto it, it will spread everywhere. And this thermal paste helps pull the heat off onto the processor. See, I didn't use very much of this. You can use a little tube like this. You can do several processors on there. It comes with a little cap on it so that you can do it. Okay, now that I got the heat sink or the thermal paste onto the processor, you got a heat sink right here. It's a chunk of aluminum, and there's a little, these are different, these things are different for other computers, and there are different ways of doing that, of putting these things in. Intel has a different way, AMD has a different way, they're all kind of different. Okay, so what you want to do on this is you want to just set it right into place, right there. Then there's a little hook here that'll hook onto this little piece of plastic right here, right there. And then there's another hook on this side that you open this thing up like this, and you put it there, hook it, put it there, and then you take this and you lock it down into place. And it does have a little bit of give to it right there. I always do this a little bit to help smush the grease out a little more around the processor. So the grease, you get a good film of grease all the way around the square block that's on the inside of this. Okay. Now, like I said, I had to take all this stuff apart to clean it because this was full of a lot of dust. I've used my air compressor to blow it out from I do it like every couple months. I blow out everything with my air compressor, but being that I smoke, the nicotine stuff that sticks to this, so I actually took it out and I washed it. So, and of course I had to take my fan off in order to wash this piece here. So to deal with the fan, you just find the holes right there, and you can change it to different holes, because where the fan plugs in at, my fan plugs in right here, right behind this right here, plugs in right here, so I can plug it in right here and just use that right there. But let's plug this thing in first, so I can, there. It's easy to plug in. It's a one-way only plug in. I mean, it's 4 prongs, but there is a there's a key on the outside of the plug, and I'll show you what that key looks like here in a minute on another fan. Anyways, what you do is you just line it up right there, just like that, and I get my screws here and just drop them down in there. So I don't know where my other screwdriver's at for this, because this one's too big. Oh, it's right here. Another screwdriver here. Come from the dollar store. It comes a pack of 2, so this is only a 50-cent screwdriver. So what you do is you just take it and you just screw them down in there. Like I said, don't torque them down just yet until you get them where in where they're all started. So, because you do need to get these things where they need to be. So, okay, that's there. That's there. And here's pain. So anyways, torquing these things here, you want to make sure that they're snug and there's no movement between the fan and the heatsink. You don't want any movement between the two. You want them nice and snug down in there. Don't torque them down or you're going to strip out the screw. Just torque them down where they're nice and snug, because you're actually screwing into the aluminum of here. So, and you don't want to strip them out. So anyways, that's how that's putting in the processor and the heatsink right there. Okay, now I got that in. I will put in, let's put our RAM in. Okay, we've got some, I got 2 sticks of Mushkin RAM here. It's okay RAM, it's not the best. When you're dealing with RAM, when you buy a motherboard, when you build a computer, you have to understand the different things that only certain processors work for certain motherboards. And it's only certain motherboards only take RAM at a certain speed and all that. So it's this here, like I said, this stuff is old. This is PC3 10666, and let's say you have RAM that runs at one speed and RAM that runs at another speed. The RAM will only run as fast as the slowest speed there is. So anyways, to install this here is where the RAM goes, is in these little slots right here. Some motherboards take parity RAM and some motherboards don't. It's non-parity. You have to understand what parity is. Means you have to have the two of the same type of RAM sticks here, RAM chips, for parity in order for it to work. This computer does not take it. I could run it off one stick. If you got parity, you need 2 sticks. So, and you got different banks on here as well. I've never noticed a difference between bank 0 to bank 3. Never noticed. I mean, I could put a RAM in any one of these and this computer would work just perfectly fine. Anyways, what I do is I just put it into place. There's a little slot right here. Right here. You can see it's a little slot, and there's a little slot right here onto the pin. It's off center, so you know that you get it in the right way, because it will not go backwards. It'll just sit there and do that, and you might screw up your RAM, and you might bust this up, and then you're out of a motherboard or RAM. So anyways, what you do is there's 2 slots that it goes in. These little wings right here, they're out. What you do is you just take it and you just apply same pressure on this side and this side. Pops right down into place. These little levers right here, they lock it up into place, and they lock it up in this little slot right here, so the RAM is in there. Don't reef on the RAM or go like that, because that'll bust the RAM up. Remember the little slot into that. So this is a really old computer, but it does exactly what I want it to do. So there we go. All right, these are 2 gigabytes each. Okay, so I got 4 gigabytes in here. Okay, then here I've got I bought these later. I installed these later. I started out with just 8 gigabytes of RAM. I have Patriot G series RAM, and it is they're 4 gigs each, and it's the same speed as this, 10666. Sounds kind of evil, but same way, because they look different, it's still the same way. It's just got the different cooling housing on here. You have to find the key on here, and you just put it in. There's a slot there, a slot there. You just pay attention to it. Put it in like this, equal pressure, it locks right into place. No problem whatsoever. on that. Just make sure when you're pushing it in that your lever isn't pushed up, because you won't get it down in that little slot. Just something to be aware of. Keyhole pin is just really simple. Okay. So there we go. Now you got the RAM installed, processors installed, all ready to go. And now what I need to do is I'm going to install my power supply right here. This is a Corsair CX750. It's a 750 watt power supply, and as I believe it is, but yeah, the more parts you have inside your computer, the more hard drives, DVD drives, more stuff running into the computer, you will need more power to it. I had to buy this thing brand new because I had a 500 watt power supply in here, and it didn't last very long. It powered it, but it didn't last very long. So, oops, where'd that go? Oh my goodness. Oh, there it is. Alrighty. Now, do this so you can see me install this right here. Okay, can you see that? Power supply is going to go right here. There's a little slot right here, and it'll rest on these two little pins right here. Okay, when you install the power supply, they have these, where the screws go, they got holes here, here, and this one's off from the corner over here. That tells you the direction that it goes in, because it'll show right here. Right here is where the one screw goes. So when you put it in there, got all these cables you got to be careful with. It kind of just angles in there like this. And I just slide it up in the space right there, and that's in place. And there's some that just screw in there. I got these little hand tighteners that you can unscrew by hand, but I do snug these things down so that they don't fall out. I like everything nice and secure. Don't like the things moving around and losing screws and stuff like that, because if the screw falls out in here and hits in the motherboard, you could be in, if your computer's on, you can end up totally ruining your whole computer on that. As far as starting a fire, I don't know, because I don't think that you'd have to have a severe, good enough shock to the computer to start a fire. I mean, that would have to be a big spark for it. Anyways, like I said, never torque any screws down or anything like that until you get all the screws in that you need to get in. Then you can just torque them down on there. And I use a screwdriver on here just to give it a little extra snugness, because like I said, I don't like things loose, vibrating, or anything like that. Don't torque it down too much to where you strip things out, because that's always bad. Always bad. Okay, now that I got the power supply plugged in here, get all the cables there. Okay, we have all sorts of cables. These cables right here, these are power cables for SATA drives. Okay, I use a lot of those. I got these things here. These are just normal 4-plug powers. I got those kind of tied together a little bit so that it keeps them out of the way. I got a cable here. It's an 8-prong cable. That will go into a certain slot to help power the processor. Okay. You have this power slot, this cord right here. Okay, it's kind of a big cord, or a big connector. And I don't know if you can see this. I've got to turn it where you can see this. I'm moving screws all over the place. Don't want to lose any of those. But, okay, now move this out of the way. There, now you can see it. Now here, inside the motherboard, you got this slot right here, this is what this will pop in. Older motherboards, different motherboards have different amount of pins on here. There's this piece right here at the end. It's a 4-pronger. You can pop that off and power the older motherboards. This slot here, that is for like extra hard drives or CD drives and all that. These things right here, you can't really see them too well. That's for my SATA drives to come in, and I got 2 PCIs. They're PCI Express 2s. I got a oh, I forgot the name of that. It's this is a PCI 8 slot, and I got another PCI slot there, and I don't know what that one is. Don't really care, don't really use it. Anyways, this here, if you actually look at it, these have different, there's some that are got angles on them and stuff. There's only one way that it can go in. Don't force it in or anything like that, because this is if it's not going in one way, flip it around and try the other way. One way to also tell is you got this little latch right here, this thing here on the latch. You can look onto the pin right here, and on the side you can see right where that latch hits right there. So there's only one way for it to go in. And what you do is you just take it and it slides right on in. There, it's in place. Didn't even hear a click. Okay, now that's there. Okay, I got this other cord. I showed you this 8-pronger right here. This 8-prong cord right here. Well, there's another slot for it right down over here, and it goes right into there. And again, it only goes in one way. You got the clicker, or you got the thing that locks it into place, and there's only one way for it to go in. Sometimes it takes a little bit to find around. Some motherboards have 4, some have 6, some have 8. Mine has 8. Anyways, I'm gonna plug that in right here. If I was not doing this video, this computer would be already pretty much be back together, because I'm actually really fast at putting this stuff together. I've been working on it for so long, like I've stated earlier. Now that I've got that in place right there, that's all in place right there. Okay, now I gotta, this is the fan right here on the side. This side right here is, on the inside is where the fan is that I had in there, and I just got to find the fan. I don't think that's it. I can't remember where that plugged in at. I mean, some people sit there and mark everything down that they need to mark down, and so that they don't forget, but this is all relatively simple. It's just a matter of finding the plugs for it. Okay, I got it there, there. It won't reach to that. It's close to here somewhere. Anyways, as soon as I find it, I think this is the fan. That might not be the fan. I got so many fans here, it's kind of confusing, because I can't remember what fan it was that I had in there. So it was just a little system fan. So, I know I had it on this table. So, but I don't think that was it. Because this one's not it. It might be it though. Well, let me look here. I had everything up here, where I moved everything around so I could do this video on here. I moved over here. No, I did not. Well, this must be the fan, but I don't really know where this thing here plugs in at. I had 2 fans this size, and I can't seem to find the other one. I know it's here somewhere. So let's just move on.